name is Girish Dhanakshirur. I'm the Director of Software Engineering and CTO in IBM Cloud Division, based out of Bangalore in IBM Software Labs. So today I'm very excited to welcome you all for this session where we are going to talk about some of the next generation architecture of cloud applications. Primarily we will talk about hybrid cloud and distributed cloud. And it also talks about how you can build applications faster in a very secured way and deploy it anywhere. So you can also reach me on Twitter if you have any further questions. We can continue the discussion on this very topic. Hit me on Twitter at Girish Dhanakshi. So let me start with a quick observation. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. I came across a Twitter poll. The question was, in the year 2020, and of course, I think they applied 2021 as well, who influenced digital transformation the most? I think the choices were CEO of the company, CXO, and COVID. I think we all know the answer. I think it was COVID, which sort of accelerated the digital transformation in every organization. And part of the digital transformation journey to cloud is core, which we're going to talk about in a minute. So journey to cloud, it's not a new topic for everyone. So many customers have started this journey for the last 5-6 years. Today, I'm pretty sure each one of you have at least one cloud provider where you have deployed your applications. But I'm also very certain that many of you have more than 2 or 3 cloud service providers where you have deployed your applications. So we at IBM, we believe that a public cloud is not a solution for each of our enterprise customers. There is going to be multiple cloud, and what we are in the labs, what we are focused on building net set of technologies and architecture is to address the multi-cloud, the hybrid cloud architectures. So distributed cloud sort of fits into the the whole hybrid cloud strategy. So I like this where Gartner in 2021 report talked about distributed cloud. I can just read it verbatim. Distributed cloud refers to the distribution of public cloud services to different physical locations, while the operation, governance, and evolution of the services remain the responsibility of the public cloud providers. So, it's very interesting. This concept is evolving very fast, and many customers and many architects are quickly adopting this. So let's take a look at why and how some of our clients have expressed the challenges, why they need the concept of hybrid and the concept of distributed computing. What's the requirement, or what are the challenges that they're facing today? The first one happens to be latency. So I'm pretty sure some of you who have architected solutions have realized that the applications, so if I use mobile applications where the response has to be in near milliseconds, you've got to architect your application design with latency in mind. So you cannot have multiple hops going from the mobile to your telco providers to cloud, and from cloud reaching out back into the IT and then sending the response back. So latency is very critical. Hence the ask always is, I would like the compute, the application to reside very close to the data where it is serving from, right? So hence latency is very critical. Data residency is becoming very common topic in every conversation today. I think here in India we have seen n number of such discussions lately, where data residency is becoming the center of any IT decision making, and the penalties cost is hundreds of millions for any violation. Lack of agility, the fact that applications now you have multiple applications deployed on multiple clouds, it's bringing its own set of challenges, including the agility, which is how quickly you want to deploy applications to the cloud. Lack of visibility is another key challenge that we see. Operations teams are operating in a number of clouds, and they would like to have a consistent way. And today, the lack of that is also, creating a lot of heartburns. Uh, Local management, in terms of, the fact that you have multiple clouds that you're operating in the IT, decentralized management becomes another risk and also a challenge. Lack of version control. Your applications, the same application could be running on-prem. Some applications are running for HA on a cloud providers. How would you do the version management of these applications? I think the inconsistent talent availability is a very key one that I keep hearing from many CIOs during my discussions. The challenge here is, you've got to train a set of your operations engineers, on a particular cloud provider technology as well as experience, and then you've got to do the same thing for others. And on top of that, you have to do the same thing for your on-prem applications as well. So this inconsistency is creating a lot of churn, from a talent availability perspective. And lastly, inability to instantly customize applications, right? So again, the fact that you have very little visibility into everything what's happening across different clouds is also creating that issue. So today we're going to discuss IBM Cloud Satellite and the whole concept of satellite. We have kept these, 8 and perhaps more of these challenges from many customers, and we have solutions for each one of these using IBM Cloud Satellite. So satellite solutions using data and AI services. You can have data and AI services running very close to the data, where it is originating from a latency perspective, and from a data residency perspective. So the data stays in place, not in the cloud, because we're going to talk about that in a minute. Dev tools from an agility perspective. Developers will have consistent dev tools that they can run pipelines across different deployments. From a visibility perspective, IBM Cloud Satellite gives a single pane of glass for across all locations, where you can have visibility into what's getting deployed. Unified operations from IBM Cloud. You can control the spend, you can control the assets, you can control all the applications deployed across different locations. From a control, from a lack of version control, so we have the rule-based delivery for each application, for each location. So this is based on a technology that we built, inside IBM called RASI, which is available as open source on rasi.io, and where we use that to run thousands and thousands of Kubernetes clusters across the globe, and that's available, to you as well, as part of Cloud Satellite to do the version controlling of your assets. The IBM Cloud Managed Services, these are the services that IBM manages, from locations. And of course, finally, we also have analytics, distributed to locations. So you have visibility into, anything and everything what's happening with your applications. Let's talk a little bit about IBM Cloud Satellite. So basically, IBM Cloud Satellite is essentially building public cloud to your data centers and running these public cloud into your data centers, where service the same experience that you've had using these services on cloud are now running in your premise on your data centers, or you can take it to the edge. So we can deploy satellite on the edge, or if you want to create a consistent architecture and consistent governance, you can deploy these services on other public cloud service providers as well, right? So these are cloud services managed everywhere. Your workloads are located where you need them. So from a data residency perspective, we talked about it. So you can run it within your infrastructure or on edge or on any other public cloud. And day two operations, simplified for distributed workloads. So you don't have to worry about the governance aspect, the security aspects, and the manageability of these. Now, what do we offer in IBM Cloud Services today? From managed service from IBM Cloud. So today you can run Red Hat OpenShift on IBM Cloud within your data center managed by IBM Cloud. You can also run continuous DevOps and continuous delivery that talks about the pace of the velocity of building and deploying your applications consistently on different infrastructure. So there's also a Cloud Pak for Data as a service that's available. So which means you can take your data on-prem, and you can ingest the data, you can build AI models, and you can build predictions and predictability models using Cloud Pak for Data as a service. So it sort of shifts the responsibility for for securing and running your applications to cloud services. I think the key thing that I wanted to highlight here, especially those customers who are in regulated industries, such as banking, the BFSI, or insurance, or in government applications. So IBM is focused on building hundreds of financial controls baked within our cloud. So there are about 300 plus financial controls, what we call as FS Cloud, that you get from day one in as part of IBM Cloud Service, as part of IBM Cloud Satellite. So these financial controls, gives you from day one most of the regulated industry requirements, being addressed, so that as CIOs you can focus more on applications and less on ensuring regulatory compliance is met, because that heavy lifting is done by the financial controls implementation within the IBM Cloud Satellite. Of course, we talked about alleviate latency, data sovereignty, sensitivity of the workloads, and we also talked about the compliance. The last one is very key because now you can bring the innovation, as well as the velocity of deploying applications using container-based applications. So these are all based on Kubernetes, which is IBM's implementation on IBM Red Hat OpenShift. So Red Hat OpenShift is available. The software that are containerized, all our Cloud Paks. We've started with Cloud Pak for Data, and we have the roadmap for other Cloud Paks as well. So you can run the Cloud Paks and other containerized software, and you can build greenfield cloud-native applications on OpenShift, and you can deploy them. IBM does the heavy lifting of managing the complex infrastructure behind that, because running and managing Kubernetes is not a cup of tea for everyone. It can be fairly complex, and IBM Cloud takes that responsibility. So here's a quick screenshot of how Cloud Satellite looks like. We call so the locations, or the piece of software that runs within your IT, that concept is called as location, and these locations get registered onto IBM Cloud. So if you go to cloud.ibm.com, once you log into your catalog, you will start seeing these locations available for you, and you can start deploying IBM Cloud services that are ready for Cloud Satellite onto these locations. So as you can see here, you have full control over the capacity, the hosts, how many CPUs you want to utilize, which application should run on what node, and which Kubernetes, what version of Kubernetes you want to run. All of that is available from a single pane of glass that gives you observability. It gives you identity and key certificate management. It also allows you to do inventory management. You can have the audit of all the inventory, and you can do a very fine-grained rule-based delivery of resources. So for example, you can have a resource pool for, you can create a service profile for developers, and you can allocate, let's say, maybe one CPU, and let's say, 8 gig of memory for that particular set of users. You can create a second profile for production, or you can create a third profile for staging, and then you can apply different rules. IBM Cloud Satellite under the covers does the rule-based enforcement on these clusters, and so that your compute is optimally utilized. So where is it available today? So today we have Cloud Satellite deployed across the globe, and we keep on adding more and more. So as you can see here, for example, there's a Cloud Satellite deployed in Africa, and it is registered with IBM Cloud Frankfurt, our Frankfurt MCR. So you can deploy locations wherever you want. It's fairly straightforward. There are numerous YouTubes available. Just ping me offline. I'll share with you, some of great demos that we have. All you have to do is, take, let's say, a cluster of computers, could be a bare metal server. It could be just maybe 4 or 5 Linux machines, or it could be just a VMware virtualized set of VMs. All you have to do is download the script, piece of software, and configure the software, and you run the software. A location gets created in your data center. It could be somewhere in Mumbai, it could be somewhere in Chennai. That location gets registered to one of the cloud MCRs. You can pick, let's say, Tokyo, or you could pick Frankfurt. So this location gets registered over there, and then you can log into your cloud console. You can start managing while your application, the actual workload, is still running in your data center, be it in Mumbai or Chennai or in Delhi. So you have the location, that's running, and then you have the flexibility, that you can run anywhere, and then you also have the choice, of running the compute. We've got cloud locations or the cloud satellite enabled MZRs deployed in US, in North America, in Europe, and in Asia, in Tokyo. So the example that I have here is there's a satellite location. Let's say it's running in Africa. The location in Africa is registered with Cloud Satellite, running out of Frankfurt. So if you go to cloud.ibm.com and if you select your region as Europe, which is Frankfurt MZR, you will see your satellite popping up over there. So in this case, you basically registered your application, and then your application is available on running on-prem, within your data center, but it's registered with the at Frankfurt. All right, so let's look at our overall architecture, for IBM Cloud Satellite. So this is integral part of our hybrid cloud architecture. So as you can see at the bottom, so you can run satellite on existing infrastructure within your own IT. GTS, IBM GTS can set up one for you, a brand new one, or you can run from IBM GTS managed data centers. Within public cloud itself, you've got all the IBM public cloud locations. We've got about 60 odd data centers across the world. You can buy a turnkey appliance, on VMware appliance, or you can run it on edge. Or like I said at the beginning, you can pick a bunch of hosts on AWS or Azure, and then you can pool them as managed hosts, and then IBM Cloud Satellite takes control over these hosts, and then you can deploy IBM Cloud services on the satellite locations. You can bring the entire IBM software catalog, which are set up for cloud packs, as well as your IBM, as well as your custom applications, your cloud native applications, or your applications that you've migrated. So let's summarize what our clients are asking us today. So our clients are asking, bring public cloud platform as a service, right? PaaS capabilities to their data centers, because of latency, regulatory, and many such issues, they cannot move applications and workloads to public cloud. So bring them to the data center. So IBM Cloud Satellite addresses that by bringing cloud services, right? It brings the database, which we added recently. We can bring databases to your on-prem systems. You can bring OpenShift, you can bring DevOps, you can bring AI, and we have a very, very rich set of roadmap, rich set of services coming as part of a roadmap. Customers, of course, are also asking for single pane of glass to manage and operate this infrastructure. Customers also are looking for ownership, operation, governance, as well as updates to these services, as well as to their applications in a very consistent way, while the applications are running across different clouds. And of course, they're also asking for flexibility, in terms of running these applications. Like I said, again, the application could be running on-prem. So the mobile apps connecting to applications, latency is important, data governance is important, as well as the visibility into all these applications are important. Thank you for listening. In order to find more, you can go to ibm.com/cloud/satellite. So we have set of videos, tutorials, as well as you can reach out to me, tweet me on the Twitter handle that I've shared here. of course, you can always reach out to any of your my IBM colleagues. We'll be more than happy to show this to you, demonstrate this to you, and then also help you in POC for you to get started. Thank you very much.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.